Flood by James Joyce, 1882 to 1941. Goldbrown upon the sated flood, the rockvine clusters lift and sway, vast wings above the lambent waters brood of sullen day. A waste of waters ruthlessly sways and uplifts its weedy mane, where brooding day stares down upon the sea in dull disdain. Uplift and sway, O golden vine, your clustered fruits to love's full flood, lambent and vast and ruthless, as is thine incertitude. Wow. Okay. This poem is by James Joyce. James Joyce was an Irishman. He came from Dublin. He was educated by Jesuits, and then he went to University College Dublin. I think he studied philosophy and languages. He then went to live abroad and spent most of his life living in Trieste in northern Italy, or that was Austro-Hungary at the time, and also in Zurich. So he lived most of his life abroad. He's most famous as an author for the novel Ulysses, although Ulysses was banned till the late 1930s. Because it was deemed to be obscene. There was too much sex in it. So, Flood by James Joyce. Flood, what's this about? Well, in many ways, I think this poem is very typical of Joyce. It's a metaphor for love. It's drawing a metaphor between a flood and love, and I think he's saying that when real love comes over us, it's like a flood. It just floods us, and it takes everything away. And while everybody else who we know look down, and they're not particularly interested, they're perhaps rather neutral about it. Everything in your life is changed, is thrown upside down, and the same happens when there is a huge flood of water or something like that. For example, Noah's Ark, that turned the world upside down. So, Goldbrown upon the sated flood, the rockvine clusters lift and sway. So, rockvine, there are vines, and these vines these creepers were attached to the rocks, and they are floating, they are lifting and swaying on the golden brown sated flood. So sated means it's had enough to eat, it's had sufficient. So what he sees is water, is a flood, and floating on the surface of this flood are vines, and they're in groups, and they lift and sway on the water. So there's been a flood, and this flood has carried away these vines from the rocks where they were attached. Vast wings above the lambent waters brood of sullen day. And then there are vast wings. So what are the wings above the lambent waters? Well, firstly, lambent. This is to do with flames. This is something to do with burning, the burning waters, and I think this is the first clue that this flood, these waters, are actually the flood of falling in love, where where all of your senses, where all of your life is flooded and everything is turned upside down. So vast wings, what are these wings? These could be the clouds above this. This could be trees hanging over this. It could be angels flying over these burning waters. Okay, the Lambent waters. So the sullen day, the sad, the unimpressed, the maybe rather downcast day is over these burning waters of love in looking down. So I think this is the idea of the rest of society hasn't been turned upside down, but inside you there has been this flood and all of the vines have been carried away. A waste of waters ruthlessly sways and uplifts its weedy mane. So again, describing the waters coming up and down, they're swaying. And the mane is the hair of a lion. And we have this image of these flood waters with these vines floating in the water, that everything has been covered or ripped from where it was, and it's swaying. Where brooding day stares down upon the sea in dull disdain. And the day is brooding. I think this represents society, that society looks down and it's sullen. It's not very happy. It's brooding. It's a bit depressed, and it's just looking down, and it doesn't really care. It's not interested in the love that you feel, although this love has taken over your life. I also get the feeling here of the sea, when there is lots and lots of seaweed floating on the sea, and it comes up and down, and you see this mane of seaweed. It's like a covering of seaweed. Uplift and sway, O golden vine, your clustered fruits to love's full flood. So initially all the water has come in and it's turned everything upside down, but now the love is gentle. The love is the water is full, and there is water covering everything. And now it's time for the fruits of love to grow. So what is to come next? Yeah, and the fruits of love's full flood, lambent and vast and ruthless, as is thine incertitude. Now, thine incertitude, this phrase, thine incertitude, I think this is saying that life, or the future of life, is uncertain, and we don't know. But this vast burning flood, or this vast amount of burning love, is there, and what will happen after, who knows? So again, this is very, very James Joyce. We've got this theme of love, but this image of a flood and these vines floating on top of the water after the flood has reached its maximum, and the metaphor between this flood and your life being flooded by a feeling of love. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Flood by James Joyce.